G'day. Before I get started, I'd like to welcome aboard all my new subscribers. Many thanks for subscribing. I hope you enjoy the content on my channel. In today's episode, I'm going to get started on something I've been thinking about for a long time and spent a lot of time thinking about. I've lost a lot of sleep, night lying in bed, just thinking about what I'll do and how I'll go about it. But what I'm going to make is, or attempt to make, is a milling attachment for the lathe, so that when I make the mill, which I'll be starting very soon, I can machine things up and get it more accurate than I could have got the way I built the lathe, and I don't have to rebuild it the way I rebuilt the lathe. So follow me over here and I'll show you what I got in mind. Alrighty, now what I've seen a lot of guys make, and what seems to be available around the place, you only get a little narrow piece like this, and I actually want to machine this thing flat, so I need something much bigger than that. So what I plan to do is I've got a piece of this top plate here left over, so I'm going to sit that on there so it's got more support right across here. And I've bought this great lump. It's a 500mm piece I'll have to cut down. It's S45C, it's 105 by 10, or they said 9.5, so I'm not sure, I haven't measured it yet, but either or, 3/8 or 10mm. And I'll cut it in half, and it will run from here to here, and then I'll get some bracing in this area here, so that it's nice and strong, and literally make my own angle plate. And I'll just bolt it here, and probably I'll weld this to the bottom of that top one, just so it's got some support in there. And then to machine the face of that piece of C channel or U channel, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to grind up a piece of tool steel and use it like a fly cutter. And I'll probably have to turn it over and do half of it, then turn it over to the other half. And each time I'll have to trim it in. But that's what I'm planning on doing. So let's see if I can get it done. The reason I've cut it this way and not this way is because the last cut I made that way, and through this stuff it cut it on an angle, so I decided I'd rather get a nice straight cut. I had it running really slow because I put a new blade on this morning. Kind of weird. It's like I get halfway through it, and it doesn't seem like it really wants to cut anymore, and flip it over, it keeps cutting. Well, I've got to say, that was probably the 5 hardest holes I've ever drilled in my life. There's something about this S45C, I've struck it before, where it seems to work hard, and as you drill it, and it just keeps knocking the corner off the drills all the time. Pain in the arse. But anyway, so this is the state of play. I've cut these 2 gussets up to put in there. I've set this up and I've trammed it to get it something close to what it needs to be, because I want to run that fly cutter along the face of this and true it all up after it's all welded up anyway. So getting it close is desirable, I would think. So I'll get the welder out and I'll tack all this together. Something else I need to do is figure out some mounting holes for this little vise. It's only made out of aluminium, but it came with that little drill mill thing I bought. But I've got to say, it's actually the best vise I got. It's got a pin in here that it runs on, so it's pretty true. Don't like these pissy little jaws. I might make a couple of new jaws for it. But I want to figure out where the best place to mount that on there is, and drill if I can get it in there and tap a couple of threads in there to mount this on the face of it. I'm toying with the idea of making up a swivel face for it and putting boring a hole in the centre here so that this thing can be swiveled like that, but don't know whether I'll do that or not. But anyway, I'll get on with tacking all this together. Oakley dokley. So this is the state of play. All welded up. I didn't bother to record the welding because if you'd been watching my recent videos, I decided you would have seen enough of me welding to keep you happy for a while. So I actually drilled and tapped 8 holes in here, and I've got to say the S45C was no match for the cobalt drill that I have as 8mm tapping size, and it went through no problems at all. In fact, the last 2 I drilled 6 initially, and then I added 2 more. I didn't even run a pilot drill for those, and it punched through there quite easily. So I've set that up like that, but I mean that has its limitations. I've got it set so there's 2 different positions I can mount that in to get the height. So if I need to do something fairly close to the centre of this thing when it's closed, then this is the pair I can use, and then I can, if it's something quite wide, I can go down to another set of holes, or there's quite a bit of movement left in that. Well viewers, I've hit a snag. I sharpened up a tool bit this morning, just a piece of 1/2-inch tool steel. But anyway, it just kept knocking the corners off this thing. I sharpened it up a few times and put it back in, and it's quite literally just, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but it's just literally rubbing the corner off it. Wouldn't touch it. So I got our little carbide tool. It's not barely long enough. In fact, it wouldn't cover the full swing of the width of this. But where is it? We knocked the corner off at once. This one here broke the end off the tip. It's only a little tiny tip. And this one's chipped in it as well, but it was starting to cut, but then it just didn't seem to want to do the job. And I'm starting to wonder if the tool's too small and it's flexing away and not cutting. So I got out my face mill and I thought I'd give that a go. Let's see if flex that away. And it did, it cut, no problems at all. So I think that supports my theory that things flexing away. After lying in bed thinking about this for a long time last night, I was determined this thing wasn't going to beat me, and I kept thinking I must have something wrong somewhere. And one of the things that was wrong was I had the tool in back to front. It has got to come this way and turn in a normal forward direction. I've spent all day playing around with this. I was getting all sorts of weird results. I've been through 3 or 4 or 5, maybe even 6 tips, keep chipping the ends off them. I've had to retram the slide because it was something I hadn't done. When I retrammed the carriage to get the tape turning out of it, I didn't retram the slide, and it was giving me weird results in here. But now I've pretty much got what I want. Down to what I intend to be my final pass. I've got a bit of a groove just in here which I couldn't be bothered trying to get out of because I've taken way more off the face of this than I would really have liked to have taken off it. So I'm going to make 2 passes, one this way, one that way. It does take a little while, so I might speed it up when I edit this. So here goes, last pass. I'm going to power feed it as well. Back the other way. And that is going to have to do it. Feels good. Just got this one big groove in there which I put in there accidentally. I don't want to keep going until I get rid of it, so that'll have to do. Decided that while I've got this set up, I might as well bore this hole in here, and then if I don't use it, then I don't use it, but it'll be there anyway. Get a bit of swarf out of there before we try cutting the hole. This is one of those little cutters I get from the shop down the road, Mr. DIY. They do a great job in the drill press. I'll see how it goes in here. Only the depth of this thing's only 9mm, which is what this is now, so I don't know if I'll get through it or not. I might have to finish it from the other side with the drill. No, I think I'll have to finish it in from the other side with the drill. This is what happens in the drill press. You get about halfway through and it doesn't want to cut anymore. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Okay, so the next feature I want to add in here while I've still got this all set up are 2 slotted holes. I'll finish this one to mount that C-channel, U-channel on here with. I'll just weld some plates in the back of it, tap a thread in them and just mount them, bolt it on this way. Now what I forgot to mention yesterday, and I did put it in the, it's in the video with some text, but I've currently got this jacked up on some 3/8 square. Gets it much more centered to the chuck, to the center line of the spindle. So I'm going to add another plate in under here. That's another thing to do as well. But I'll get on to finish this one off while I think of it. I'm going to have to do something about buying some carbide end mills. This is the one I used up there. Look at it, chewed the corners right off it. I don't know whether it's just this stuff or whether these are just rubbish, these cheap Chinese high-speed steel end mills, but yeah, they're rubbish. Didn't have to work so hard on this one because these 2 holes are slightly overlapped, whereas those 2 had a bit of a gap between them. Only eyeballed it when I drilled it. But that's that bit finished. I'll get on with something else. During the week I went down to one of the big hardware stores that I go to that has a lot of stuff that the other ones don't have, chasing something to make the rotary base for the vise. And I spotted this down there, and I've been chasing or thinking about changing the motor on this useless thing for quite a while. I picked it up reasonably cheap, mind you. It's probably cost as much as this old drill press cost originally, but I've mounted it up. It's still 3rd horse like the old one. That old motor I'd be able to grab the chuck and just about stop the damn thing, but this one I can't do that. It is maybe 20% bigger than the original motor, but we'll see how we go chopping the rest of this hole through here. This is the first thing I've tried to do with it. I think the lowest speed, and this is the 600 odd RPM, and I think it's probably a bit fast for this cover really. Yep, I think we might have chewed the corners off that. Oh, I'll investigate that. Alrighty, I've come to the conclusion that the angle plate has work hardened itself again while I was trying to cut that hole in there. So I've had a crack at annealing it, and so while it's all cooling down, I've decided I'll throw this in here and do something with this. This is what I bought the other day to mount the chuck on for swiveling. I'm not going to do anything with this. I've drilled and tapped 4 holes in there. It'll just bolt straight on there. Just going to face it off, turn the OD a little bit. It's been ground very roughly around here where it's been stamped with what it is, because this is an end cap for a steam pipe, and you'll see when I fire it up it's wobbling because this area is lower than the rest of the edges. So I'm just going to face it, turn it back a bit, so I might even put a bit of a step in it so I can locate it when I flip it over. Drill and bore a hole in the middle for a pin. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get on with it. Well, I stuffed up there. I went outside to open the gate for the poor old blind dog before, so you get outside for a pee, and then my daughter came out and asked me to do something for her, and I forgot to turn the camera back on. Anyway, that's that side done, and oh, that's a bit sharp. Got to take that edge off there. But I'll flip it around, and then we'll bore that hole in my guts. This 19mm drill that I bought recently was the cheapest thing I could find, to tell you the truth. After that crappy oversized hole that it drilled into aluminium, I decided to give it a sharpen. I don't know what they sharpened it with in the factory, but it looked like it had been sharpened with an angle grinder. It was that rough. It's unbelievable. These are a bit, probably do with a run down here with a stone or something too. They feel a bit rough as guts as well. But you get what you pay for, and like I said, it was the cheapest one I could lay my hands on. Because it won't get a lot of use. The long handle key out. Tighten it up. Don't slip. Just like this spindle down. So there we go. His head's come off it already. Kidding. Look at that, look at that. Unbelievable. What rubbish. Oh, I might whack the 16mm through it, it's a better quality than this thing. About time. Tail stock was pushing back then. It's, I'll have to adjust that up a bit maybe. Alrighty, something about boring this out a bit. I'll bring you back when I get a bit close. It's going to take a while to get that out to 25mm. Alrighty, decided not to go out to 25mm with that. I went to 20 and I'll machine a shoulder on the little pin that's got to go in there. So I can press it in up to a shoulder and know it's going to be fairly straight. Because I don't have much wiggle room in that shaft. It's 25.3 and that hole is going to cut in that saw around that size somewhere. I don't know what it is about this machine, but I get much better finishes facing with a boring bar on this than I do with a turning tool. So I made one pass on that, and I reckon one more pass might just about clean it up. That's not a bad finish. I'll do with that. That was a bit bloody awful. Anyway, we'll call that finished. So this is the state of play. It's a shopping day again today, and you know, I think I mentioned at the start of this video, a shopping day, so we've got a full week. I don't get a lot of free time on shopping days. So I've knocked up this pin this morning, and I made it an interference fit rather than a press fit with a bit of Loctite on it. And it will sit through that plate if I ever manage to cut the hole through it and rotate on that pin. And the way I'm going to retain it is just going to drill and tap a thread in there. On the back side of the angle plate, I'll make up another plate so that when you do that bolt up, it'll pull it up tight and hold it in place. This gets the bolt on here like that, so when it's all fitted up it can rotate, give you different angles. I'm just toying with, I did Loctite that in, it's an interference fit, I think I mentioned that already, and I'm just toying with whether to weld it a bit in here, maybe 3 or 4 spots of weld in there, or maybe just drill and tap it and put a grub screw in a couple of places just to stop it from coming loose, because you can't have this pulling away from the angle plate. But anyway, this is dragging on again, so we're out to 20 minutes. So I think I'm going to have to make this another 2-part video, and this will be the end of part 1. If you've enjoyed this up until now, give it a big thumbs up, smash that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing to keep up to date with what I'm doing. And until next time, that's it, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Tooraloo.